St. David's Day is coming up, and it's the perfect thing to make. They're absolutely delicious. You can eat them on their own or with a little bit of butter, a little bit of jam. Absolutely delicious, okay? So what we need are some ingredients. We've got some plain flour. We've got some raisins that look a little bit like this. And these were said to have resembled the coal from the Welsh coal mines that run through the Welsh cakes. We've got some butter. We've got 1 egg, some sugar. And then we've also got a little bit of mixed spice, but you could use something like nutmeg or mace to flavour it, okay? We've got a little bit of baking powder and a pinch of salt. And the only other things that you'll need is a bowl to mix everything up in, a wooden spoon, a little cutter. If you don't have a little cutter, you could use the top of a jam jar or a little cup. And remember, you can do loads of different shapes. You could do little gingerbread shapes, stars, anything that you have, you can use it, okay? And the other thing that we need is a pan. I'll be using a little cast iron skillet, but you can use absolutely anything you want. Years and years ago, they would use, and still to this day, they'd use something called a bake stone. And that's just a flat stone that gets really, really hot and cooks it really nicely with a little char on the top. So it's very, very tasty. Right. First thing to do is just to get our flour. We just tip it into a bowl. And then all of the other dry ingredients. So we've got our sugar. We'll just place these bowls to one side. A little pinch of salt. We've got a few shakes of mixed spice. Don't put too much in, otherwise it'll be too strong. And a little spoonful of baking powder. There's loads and loads of recipes online in books, so I'm not going to talk to you about the quantities, but they're all about the same, so just give it a go and see what you come up with. It doesn't matter if you get anything wrong, it'll all be very, very tasty in the end. Right, so we just mix our flour and our lovely spice together, making sure that it's all working through the flour. And what we do then, we can get our raisins and our sultanas. We can get our butter. We put our butter in. And then with our fingertips, it's good to use butter that's slightly warm. So if you leave it out of the fridge for about 20 minutes, it'll be even easier. And you're just using your fingertips to work all this butter through. And what that's going to do is almost create a lovely dough. It's kind of like making a cake. Now, Welsh cakes, they're very, very similar to scones. However, the only difference is the way that we cook it. That's called a cooking method or a technique. So what we'll be doing is cooking something on a flat pan. But if it was going to be a scone, all you do is put it in the oven. And then that scone would rise. And people have that with cream and jam. Very, very tasty. Really, really similar. But this is the Welsh version. So we're going to give that a go. So just keep on working the butter through. If you go to somewhere like Swansea Market, you'll see them all lined up on the stands. And the smell is amazing.